Good evening and welcome to the Solo Gamers Club. In this short video, I want to discuss my current campaign of Shadows of Brimstone and talk about the solo rules that I've created. It's a rule set that I call Alone in the Shadows of Brimstone. First, I'd like to start with the bits that I'm happy with. As a solo gamer, I'm counting on random elements and a rich narrative to generate the fun level of the game and to create uncertainty. I think that for the most part the rules have done this, at least for what I was expecting. I'm pleased with the overland travel rules and the system of movement on the campaign map. The creation of the D100 hazard chart was a definite plus, as it's provided more uncertainty and added variety to help prevent the hazards from becoming stale, which is something that has occurred while I played, and I never anticipated that at the beginning of the campaign. Another change that I'm pleased with are the modifications regarding healing and health and sanity damage. I was never a fan of the posse being able to fully heal following a mission. This allows the heroes, like in my opinion, to make unrealistic choices during the battles, particularly the final battle, as the characters know that they're going to be fully healed after the fight. With the method that I'm using in the campaign rules, some of the damage might carry over with them and affect, future travel hazards or town events, etc. So I'm definitely happy with that aspect of the rules. Another thing that I thought worked well was the tables that I created to generate the random posse and non-player characters. To me, it's more fun and challenging to play heroes that I wouldn't have necessarily chosen, and that worked out well for me. I like that aspect. And now we'll get to the bits that I'm not so happy with. We'll start with the non-player character rules. It was important for me to have non-player characters in the campaign, as I felt that this was a vital part of creating a rich environment for the heroes. However, I'm not thrilled with the interaction rules that I've developed. I've made some changes to this in the latest version of the campaign rules, which I've posted on Board Game Geek, but it still doesn't feel right to me. Maybe with more playtesting, I'll have a change of heart with that system, but something just doesn't seem, I'm not happy with it the way it is. I do like the alignment scale and the ability of the non-player characters to change their outlook over time. But I got to find a more streamlined way of resolving the interactions between the heroes and the town non-player characters. One thing I'm experimenting with is the use of a set of fudge dice. Fudge dice this is a pack of dice that I purchased years ago. I've never used them, but basically it's a set of 5 different colored dice that have values of a plus, a minus, or no result. And these might be a way for me to develop some rules where I can interact with the characters by using these dice. And that would produce either a positive or a negative or an indifferent result in an interaction. So that's something I'm kind of experimenting with at this point. Another change that I'm making is to increase the hero's starting cash during the hero creation process. One of the main problems that I noticed in my playtest of the campaign rules was the posse's difficulty in being able to afford rations and accommodations and side bake tokens, especially early in the campaign. So I'm hoping that the increase in the starting cash, by just bumping that up a bit, will help to solve and minimize that as a problem. One thing I never expected was the untimely death of one of the heroes, in this case Dakota. This sent the remaining posse member into like a downward spiral, and it caused exactly what I did not want to happen. It ended up creating a game within a game. McMaster's efforts to gain enough money to continue on, he spent more time trying to stay in supply than he did adventuring in the mines. So I definitely don't want that to occur. Another mistake that I made during that playtest campaign was I was too timid during the missions. I was overly cautious regarding injuries and madness conditions, and I probably didn't give the heroes enough of a chance to complete the missions. So that kind of also led to problems where they would have maybe had more supplies and more money and equipment, where I never gave them the chance because I was too afraid of taking a wound or permanent injury or madness condition, you know. And regarding the death of one of the player characters, I thought I could use the non-player character interaction rules to gain a new hero or purchase, you know, a hireling, but this never materialized. I suppose I could have just introduced a new hero into the campaign, but my instinct was to handle it using the systems in the campaign that I've developed, and that just never materialized. One hero just doesn't have enough firepower to have a reasonable chance of completing a mission, and this put even more pressure on the remaining hero. So I'm going to need to implement a few special rules that will handle the unexpected death of a posse member and allow for a thematic way to replace them. I'm thinking about abandoning the current playthrough with Will McMaster and beginning a new series using new heroes and new non-player characters. This will allow me to evaluate the campaign rules with the changes already in place at the start of the campaign. Another slight problem that I noticed in the rules is the introduction of themes into the missions. I do like that aspect, and I'm happy with the mission theme table that has a chance of introducing a theme into a mission. But one thing I noticed is that does make the mission exponentially more difficult for the heroes, and they really don't gain any benefit from that. So what I'm going to introduce now is that when a theme is determined to be a part of a mission by using that mission theme table, I'm going to have the posse gain an extra revive token if the theme is present. And I think that's a good balance to this. I like the idea of the themes. I think that's an excellent thing that the original designers have developed, but in the case of a campaign system, it doesn't really offer the heroes any benefit to that other than the theme aspects to it. So I think by giving them an extra revive token, that will offset that situation, because you know, you have to remember, in a theme mission like that, when there's themes involved, you're drawing extra encounter cards that you normally would not draw if that theme wasn't present. So that makes it exponentially more difficult for the heroes to complete that mission. So I think this might be a good offset for that. Another rule that I'm implementing is an instant loss situation where the posse can lose the game instantly. And I think that's kind of an important thing to have. I've included that in the miscellaneous rules section. And basically it deals with destroyed towns. And I've got a rule that if 5 or more towns are destroyed, the creatures are considered to have gained an insurmountable foothold in the land, and the campaign ends immediately in a devastating loss for the heroes. I think that's an important aspect into the game as well. In order to create a sense of urgency in the posse, you have to have something to counterbalance that, some threat that they just would not want to have happen. So I think by implementing that rule, that's going to be good for the campaign play. It'll be kind of drive the heroes to pursue more proactive attempts at completing these missions, because if the mission failure rules would be implemented, in some cases, in some missions, it destroys a whole town, and that could go very quickly in a campaign. So I think that might be an important addition to the game as well. One other regret that I do have is in the campaign map. I regret that I had placed so many of these rail towns on the map. What I could have done is cut out maybe even half of these, and the theory being that just because a town is on a rail line doesn't mean that it has a depot and there's a stop there. So what I could have done is, as an example, we could have had a rail town at Woods End. Listina could have been a black bordered town. Rail line goes through it, but it doesn't stop there. Seraphin could have been a rail town. Fringe could have been a black bordered town, and etc. So I might be making changes to that campaign map that would give us more opportunity to be able to roll up for specialty towns with the black border towns rather than having so many of these being rail towns. And that's about it for now. That was just some thoughts that I had I wanted to share with anyone that was interested regarding the campaign play. And I think the next time I have a Brimstone video, it's going to be with a brand new campaign. I think that might be the way to go. We'll have a better chance at evaluating the rules, I think, with the implementation of those revised rules that I discussed. And I think that's going to make for a more exciting playthrough. So, well, thanks for joining me, and I hope all of you have a good day, and hope to see you soon again at the Solo Gamers Club. Have a good evening.